opportunities available in a career in accounting and how you can start that journey through an apprenticeship. Joining us today in this event, which is part of our Discover series, are Kaplan and Azets. I'm Sam, your event host and part of the Get My First Job team, and my colleague Danny is also here co-hosting with me and will be on hand to help answer your questions, as well as the Kaplan and Azets team.
I understand we are now going to move over to hear from some of our apprentices. So we are joined by 3 apprentices from Azets today. We have Gracie, Matt and Jack. They're from all over the country. We've got Coventry, Southampton and York, and all 3 of them are working in accountancy. So I'm going to hand over, stop sharing my screen and allow an opportunity for them to introduce themselves. Gracie, did you want to kick us off?
Yes, so my name's Gracie. I've been with Azets for 2 years now, and yeah, I am in the accounts and business department. Like Catherine said, we have a lot of clients in my office alone, over 100. So, you know, every day you kind of deal with a different problem, you speak to different people. So every day changes, there's always something new to learn, something interesting going on. It's not just the same stuff every day. It is hard at first to gauge all the terminology, and there is a lot to learn, but obviously the more you do it, the easier it gets. And like she said, you do jump straight into the client work. You don't do a lot of practice stuff, but there's always people there to support you. You'll never do anything on your own. When I started, things were a lot different to what they are now, including the process of onboarding and, you know, just the general amount of trainees that we had, but it's definitely changed the better in that sense. When I started, there was probably 3-4 trainees around me, and now in my office alone there's like 18 to 20. So there's a good group of people that you'll always be around, ranging from like 18 to 20 something, 30. So there's always going to be someone there that you can kind of join in with. We've tried really hard to improve the culture in our office, move away from just, I know someone said about working long hours, but we've tried to start doing a lot of social events. So every month we try and do a social event within the office. You know, the long hours can come, but it's not all the time, mainly just in January, but it's 1 month out of a year. And as a trainee, you kind of won't really feel that effect. We try and keep the trainees just doing what they need to, and usually the managers will deal with that kind of issues. But yeah, we try and do a lot of social events committee. We have a whole committee to try and plan it. I planned a trainee day out where we got a day off work, everything paid for. We did team building activity, and then went out for food and drinks after. So it's not just all the boring stuff. We do try and make it fun, but obviously the apprenticeship is hard. I started at level 3 AAT, and I'm just about to finish my level 4 2 years later. But so it's not easy. There is a lot of exams. You have to revise after work. You know, you don't. The only thing we do get is a day before the exam you get a day off, all paid for, to revise just for that exam that you've got. But you know, like Catherine said, there's a lot of people to support. Everyone that you'll be at the company with would have already done these exams, or be going through them themselves. So everyone's there to support you. It is hard, but it's rewarding when you get them done, and to see yourself progress. And like they've got in at the minute, every time you complete a level, so every 12 months you've got a pay rise just from completing that level. So it is good. And the apprenticeship really does help your development alongside working. But I do think it's a better choice than uni. Like Matt said, even if you go to uni or you skip and do the level 7 straight away, you've got to get that 3 years in of workplace experience. So if you want to get it done quickly, or if you don't want to have to wait after you've done your exams to get qualified, obviously I've almost got 3 years and I've not even started my level 7 yet. So I definitely think it's better to choose this. I think 90% of the stuff you learn comes from on the job, so I do think it's better than uni. And you know, it does help you progress quicker, I'd say. There's someone in my office, she's called Danielle. She started off her apprenticeship when she was 16, and she's now a partner of the company, which is the top you can be at the office, and she's only 30. So she's, you know, progressed as quickly as it gets, really. So yeah, and obviously you're getting paid being an apprenticeship, which you don't get at uni. So yeah, that's all from me. I definitely think it's worth doing, and I don't regret choosing the option of doing an apprenticeship. Thank you.
Thanks, Gracie. I don't know if perhaps Matthew or Jack or Hader would like to add on to that, how your experiences have been.
Yeah, I'm happy to
start.
I'm happy to go. Yeah. I would echo a lot of what Gracie said. Well, I've been at Azets now for 5 years. I started 5 years ago, straight out of college. I joined a firm called Wilkins Kennedy at the time. And we were one of the first firms to be taken on underneath the Azets group. I'm currently working in the ABAS department. It's the Accounting Business Advisory. So I do a lot of looking at clients' financial records during the day, and working towards getting them into final accounts, which we would file at Companies House. I started AAT level 3, so I've done my AAT level 3 and 4 now. I've moved on and I'm currently on ACA, and hopefully I've got about 12 months left on that until I finish. The apprenticeship is enjoyable. When I first started, I used to go out to a centre, get to meet other people from different firms or even from the same firm in a different office. The days are quite nice. They're like sort of 9 till 4 o'clock. You get to go out, you get a couple of breaks, and obviously you can go out at lunchtime. I'm in Southampton, in the main city of Southampton, so we used to go down the pub a little bit, do different things, or you can go out and you can just go around. It's quite enjoyable. It's not quite just all working all the time. So it's quite nice to be out of the office and doing different things. You'll be with people that are the same age as you, as well as some people that may be a little bit older, but it's a good opportunity to meet different people. We get given some time from work as well. I know Matt talked about it, doing the EPA. It's like a portfolio. We get given some time to do that from work as well during the day, as well as revising in the evening for exams and stuff. So it's not all quite on work time. There is some extra work you have to put in, but you do get the rewards from that, really. Also during my time through my development, I've had chances to go on audits. I'm not just strictly in accounts. I do a lot of tax work as well in my day-to-day job, so I get a good spread of all the different departments. We have opportunities within Azets to move into different departments, move into different offices, try different things, which is good. But so far, I've done a few audits, but I mainly stay within the accounts department. Through that time I've gone on, I do go and see different clients, build a lot of client relationships. We spoke about earlier about lots of small companies, and I've gone year after year to the same people, the same clients, all these different industries, and you get to build these good relationships with them. And I think by the time hopefully by the time I finish my apprenticeship, I'll be able to look after those clients straight away as soon as I finish my apprenticeship. Whereas if you went and did a degree, maybe you wouldn't be able to do that as well. So I think it's been very beneficial to me. It's something I definitely don't regret. And we've taken on more and more trainees. And currently now I've got 2 trainees in my department, which I look after. I'm the buddy for both of those. And it's quite nice to have had that buddy experience myself and then pass the buddy experience on to somebody else and try and teach them everything that I know as well. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed my time so far, and hopefully it continues.
Brilliant, Matthew. And you sort of made a good point there that when you kind of go the university route, you perhaps don't get that access to clients straight away. So you've already kind of built that experience up already, which was a really interesting point to sort of mention. Hader, I don't know if you'd like to give your experience. Obviously, I know you're not from Azets, you're from Rolls-Royce, but you are following the same scheme through Kaplan as well.
Yeah, that's right. I don't mind going next. So I started my apprenticeship after completing my A levels. So the particular scheme that I'm on was structured for 4.5 years, and basically I studied for the level 4 AAT qualification for the first 2 years, and then CIMA for the remaining 2.5 years. So I basically get two sort of like apprenticeships joined together, going from level 4 all the way to level 7, which, as Matt touched on earlier, is equivalent to a master's degree. So for someone to do that after, basically get like a master's degree fully funded for by a company at the age of 18 is a really good opportunity, and I've really enjoyed my experience so far. So in terms of what my scheme looks like on a day-to-day basis, as I mentioned, it's 4.5 years long, and 1 day a week, similar to how Matthew mentioned, I'm going to college, pre-COVID this is, and doing the study side, and then working 4 days a week in the office. With the pandemic, the online sort of teaching has shifted a little bit, so we've been doing more things via Zoom, etc. But there have been certain points with the restrictions where we have been able to go into college. So all the sort of education side is handled by Kaplan. They're the training provider. They're the ones who's providing sort of the study materials, textbooks, all the exam prep to give you basically all the ingredients you need to pass all your exams. And then on the work side, Rolls-Royce are dealing with getting me that practical experience that Matt mentioned you also need to be able to become fully qualified. I've really enjoyed it so far. I feel like the apprenticeship route is great for people who are keen to get stuck into the workplace, or quite sort of entrepreneurial, feel like they've got a mature head on their shoulders and just want to go for their career, and done a lot of research prior to making that choice. If you feel like you're someone who's not too sure on what career to go for, and you feel like you need a bit more time, then I think like a degree is probably better to allow you to explore your options a bit more, and not potentially pick a career that you might sort of not enjoy later down the line. But I think for me, because I did A levels in business and economics, and maths, which were quite numerical and linked heavily to a lot of the work I'm doing now, I've done a lot of research and work experience, and I felt like I just wanted to just get straight into it. I didn't really want to delay it any longer, which is why I did the apprenticeship. And yeah, I think it's been great so far. And in terms of the teams I've worked in, so I work in different rotations. So every 12 months I rotate into a new team, which gives me a whole different experience and allows me to find out what do I like, what don't I like, so that when I finish the program and start looking at full-time roles, I've got a better idea of what area I'd like to go into, which, as Gracie mentioned as well, it's harder to do without having any kind of practical experience coming straight out of university. At least this way you've sort of tested the waters, you've actually done the job, and it's not just you reading things about it online, you've actually experienced it, which I think is the best way to learn and definitely know if something's for you or something's not for you. So yeah, in terms of teams, I've worked in tax, specifically VAT, billing and reporting, dealing with billing our customers and reporting on things like debt, etc. I also did a placement within group reporting, which basically looks at reporting all the company sort of accounts, which goes out to the public and investors, and on an annual or sort of 6 monthly basis, which that was really good experience as an apprentice, because it's a really advanced role and you're like reporting into the CFO as a team. So to see that at such a young age is great hands-on experience. Otherwise you'd it'd take you a lot longer to be in that sort of seat as part of like a typical career, whereas an apprentice you're almost like a fly on the wall, and you get to see so much at a young age and just soak up all the knowledge, which I think is great and gives you so much invaluable information later on down the line. And then the current team I'm in is heavily involved in things like forecasting and using our system, which again, completely different, but then each placement teaches you sort of a different set of skills and knowledge and behaviors, which all tie together to help you finish your apprenticeship. So yeah, it's been great so far, and definitely recommend doing an apprenticeship for people who are a bit on the fence, but have sort of done enough research around picking accounting as a career. I'm approaching the end of my apprenticeship now, so I'm just about a month or two away from completing. So I've passed all the exams, etc. I'm just working on the final EPA portfolio, which Matt mentioned, which will be the final piece of the puzzle. But yeah, looking back at my 4.5 years, I think it's been great, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions towards the end if anyone's got any.
Thank you, Hader. You can really see that you're really passionate about the option that you chose, and you really do think it was the best option for you. That really shines through there. Thank you. Jack, would you like to add sort of your experience of being an apprentice?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit different to, I think, the previous three, in that I started a little bit later. So I'm actually 24 right now, and I'm 25 this year. So I took a little break from after finishing my A levels to get in an apprenticeship. Basically, had a year out, and I actually started with a firm in York, and joined Garbutt and Elliott in York in November 2020. Basically, the day Boris announced a month-long lockdown. So we Azets have basically just taken over Garbutt and Elliott in the last 2 months. So I'm basically only new to the Azets team, but my experience of getting in was different in that I basically started with the level 3, worked all the way up, but then moved in the middle of my level 4. Basically changed where I worked at the start of level 4. It's took me longer to do level 3 and 4 than most. Like Gracie's took her 2 years to nearly finish level 4. I'm on my 4th year. Pandemic, etc., has just halted me. So that's why I'm a little bit older and not finished yet. I absolutely echo all the previous 3 in the apprenticeship is the best way into an accountancy role, simply because I'll give you an example. Someone who is 21 and been to university and someone who's 21 and done 3 years and got level 4 are at the same point. When they arrive at work at Azets York, for example, I'll have been doing as an apprentice 3 years worth of experience of doing accounts. So my role is accounts. I do tax returns, personal tax returns, confirmation statements, tagging and company tax submissions. So I do quite a wide range of things within the accountancy team. So when somebody who's 21 starts at the same time as me, they've done none of that, not one bit of it. So my experience on the job is far greater than anybody who's been to university, and I'm not 30 grand in debt, which is always a good thing. And at that point, me and that person who's been to university will be starting the same level 7 chartered course. So it makes sense to me to get the experience on the job, which when I was applying for jobs, it was a big part of how I got the job at Garbutt and Elliott, now Azets Yorkshire, because the experience I had was far greater than most people who were applying. So I could basically walk in and start the job on the Monday with enough experience to do quite a lot of any jobs that were put in front of me. In terms of my daily role, I often do, as I say, typical accounts, records, mostly now on Xero or Sage, etc. But here in York, the team, my team are responsible for quite a wide range of things. As I say, confirmation statements for Companies House. We do actually do our own personal tax returns as well as having our own personal tax team. Business tax is the massive part of what I do now compared to my previous employer. That was more partnership, sole trader. But yeah, business tax, massive part of it, and general financial preparing of accounts is basically what I do. But yeah, I absolutely echo the previous 3. Apprenticeship's the best way in for an accountancy role.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jack. That was really good to hear sort of your experience, perhaps not coming straight from education, having that year out, and obviously showing people that you don't need to be a school leaver to do so. So that's brilliant. Thank you very much. We've got lots of pinging going on. There's definitely lots of questions coming in. So if we move now to the Q&A part of the event, and I'll hand over to my colleague, Danny.